This is Kishore, Mechanical Department, DBS Institute of Technology, Kaval.
Hi students, today we are discussing the topic N jobs through M machines.
Sequencing problems part. So in this video tutorial we are going to be taking a numerical example based on sequencing problem, and the type is processing of N jobs through M machines. But before we start off with this video, I already have covered sequencing problems based on N jobs 2 machines and N jobs 3 machines. So if you have missed those videos or if you've never seen those videos, make sure you watch those videos because a lot of things that are common there are also coming over here. So many of the concepts are pretty much the same over here. So I have linked those videos in the video description, and you can probably also see a card to the entire playlist of operations research. So make sure you check out those videos first, and if you are already cleared with those videos, then this one is going to be very easy. So with that being said, let's start off with today's topic. So a little bit of theory of processing of N jobs through M machines. Let's say we have N jobs. You can see the jobs 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 till N. And let's say we have M machines, so A, B, C, D till M. Now let N jobs be processed on M machines and the order of these machines be already known. So we know in what order are these jobs being processed on these machines. And also the processing time is given as follows. So job 1 requires A1 minutes or hours or seconds or whatever the time unit is on machine A. Similarly, job 1 requires B1 minutes on machine B and so on. Now obviously we cannot directly go ahead and solve this numerical because this is a N job and M machines problem. However, we can only solve N jobs and 2 machines directly. So we've seen that in the previous video also, wherein we converted the N jobs 3 machines to N jobs 2 machines problem and then we solved it. So the similar process of converting N jobs 3 machines to a N job 2 machines problem can be applied for this type also. That is, the process used for processing N jobs on 3 machines can be extended to N jobs on M machines if either one or both of the following conditions hold true. So again we have 2 conditions, and out of the 2, at least one of them needs to be true. So following are the conditions. Minimum time on machine A is greater than or equal to maximum time on machine B, C through M-1. Okay. Or we have second condition. Minimum time on machine M has to be greater than maximum time on machine B, C, D through M-1. So either of these 2 conditions needs to hold true, and if any of the condition is true, then we can convert this N jobs M machines problem to a N jobs 2 machine problem, and we can have 2 imaginary machines Xi and Yi, and what we can do is we can add up all the times of the different machines. So for Xi it will be first machine plus second machine time plus Ci plus Di till M-1 machine. So we don't consider the last machine's timing over here for Xi, and for Yi we start off from the second machine, not from the first. So Bi plus Ci plus Di plus the till the last machine. Okay. So now this sounds or this seems a little bit confusing, but when we actually see the numerical it will be very clear. So this is how it will be looking after you convert N jobs M machines problem to a N jobs 2 machines problem, because we have 2 imaginary machines now, and now you can solve this problem by applying the same process for N jobs 2 machines by calculating the optimum sequence and so on and so forth. So I know this theory might sound a little vague or it is not really making sense. So let's take a numerical example now. Okay, so here's the question. 4 jobs are processed on 5 machines A, B, C, D and E in the order A, B, C, D, E. So we've been given the order as follows: A, B, C, D, E. This matters because this is the order in which the jobs are processed on the machines. Now the processing times are given in the below table, and what we have to do is we have to find out the optimum sequence of jobs. So that's number 1. We have to find out minimum elapsed time and the idle time of all machines. So here's the table, and this is the data. We have the 4 different jobs: job number 1, job number 2, 3 and 4, and the 5 different machines A, B, C, D, E. So these yellow units are the values, or you can say the time required for job 1 on machine A is 7. So 7 can be hours, minutes, seconds, whatever. Let's consider minutes. So job 1 requires 7 minutes on machine A. Job 1 requires 5 minutes on machine B. Job 1 requires 2 minutes on machine C, and so on and so forth. So I hope you're getting this entire table. Now the next step is to actually convert this N jobs M machines problem into a N jobs 2 machine problem, right? So now we have to look at the 2 different conditions. So the 2 different conditions are minimum of AI, that is minimum of the first machine in the sequence. So this is the first machine, so that's why AI has to be greater than or equal to maximum of Bi, Ci, Di. So the machines which are in between are B, C and D, right? And the extreme machines are A and E. So what we are doing is we are taking the first machine, we are taking the minimum value of AI, which means that we have to select the minimum of these 4 values, and we know the minimum over here is 5. So I'm just gonna write 5 over here, and then we have to search for the maximum of these 4 machine values. So BI, CI and DI. So BI, CI and DI, we have the maximum as 6. Okay, you can see we have 6 over here, we have 6 over here, we don't have 7. So from the B, C and D, 6 is the highest. So I'm gonna write 6. So now you can see that the first condition is not satisfied because 5 is not greater than equal to 6, right? So this is not true. So the first condition is false. Let's check for the second condition. The second condition is minimum of EI, that is minimum of the last machine value, has to be greater than or equal to maximum of BI, CI and DI. Again, BI, CI, DI are the machines which are in between. Okay. So let's find out minimum of EI. So you consider this row, that is the E row, and you can see the minimum value is 6. Now we already have found out maximum value of BI, CI, DI over here, which is 6. And now you can see that this condition is true because minimum of EI is not greater than, but it is at least equal to maximum of BI, CI and DI. So since this condition is true, we can now actually convert this n jobs m machines problem to a n job 2 machine problem. And the way we convert it is by adding the units. So let me show you how you add it. So you say since the second condition is met, we can convert this into equivalent n jobs 2 machines problem with 4 jobs as follows. So we have 2 imaginary machines xi and yi because we have to convert n machines into 2 machines, right? So we add up A to D, that is the first 4 for the first machine, and we add up second to last for the second machine. Okay, so this is how you add things up. So for the first machine xi, we add up all these values, that is A, B, C and D, and for the next machine yi, we add B to E. Okay, so let's do that. So we have the 4 jobs 1, 2, 3 and 4 in the new table. We have xi and yi. So let's calculate what goes over here. So AI plus BI plus CI plus DI, which means 7 plus 5 plus 2 plus 3. That is going to give you 17, right? So I'm going to write 17 over here. Similarly, 6 plus 6 plus 5 plus 4. That is going to give you 21. Again, 5 plus 4 plus 5 plus 6. That is going to give you 20. And 8 plus 3 plus 3 plus 2. That is going to give you 16. Similarly, for yi, what we are going to do is we are going to add these values, these values, these values and these values. So I'm just going to fill the table. You can also perform the addition. Okay, so I have added the values and you can see now we have converted this n job m machine to a n job 2 machine problem. So now the next step is to follow what we did for the n job 2 machine process. That is, you first follow the optimum sequence. So let's do that. So to calculate the optimum sequence, we know that for the xi values we start from left to right, and for yi values we start from right to left. So to start filling this optimum sequence, what we do is we look at this table and we find out the least value. So you can see right now the least value is 14, and since it is for yi, we start writing it from the right. Okay, and we write the job number. So this optimum sequence is to find out in what order the job goes. So we write down job number 4 over here. So since job number 4 is done, we just cancel out this column, and now we again look for the smallest value. So now the smallest value is 17, and since it is for machine xi, we start from left to right. So this is that job number 1. So I'm going to write job number 1 over here and cancel out this column. Now comparing the smallest value, we know the smallest value is 20. It's for job 3 on xi. So I'm going to write 3 over here because for xi we start from left to right. Cancel out this column. And lastly, we have only one place. So I'm just going to write job 2. Okay, so now we've calculated the optimum sequence, and now we can move ahead to calculate our main table, wherein we will find out the time in, time out, and then the idle time for all the machines. So let's do that. Okay, so as you can see on the screen, I have this huge table wherein the first column is jobs in the optimum sequence, which are 1, 3, 2 and 4. So this is the order starting from left to right. So that's what I've written over here. Then we have our 5 machines, A, B, C, D and E. So we have to individually calculate the in and out time for all the machines because all these jobs have to be processed on each of these machines in this order starting from A, then B, then C, then D and then E. So that's what it is given in our question also, right? So that's what we have to do. So when you start off this entire system, that is when you start off all these machines, they start off at time t equals to 0. Okay, so all of them start together. However, since the processing starts first at machine A, others have to wait for that, right? So let's start off the processing of job number 1 on machine A. So we'll complete all the jobs on one machine and then we'll move ahead. So initially when the job 1 comes at machine A does not have to wait. Directly the job is allocated because there is no other previous work that machine A is doing. So the end time is going to be 0, and you can refer the initial table wherein the time is given. So for machine A to process job 1, you can see it requires 7 minutes. So from 0 to 7, job 1 is going to be processed on machine A. Now obviously the machine A did not have to wait for the job. As soon as the job came in, you can see it got end time at 0. So the idle time over here is going to be 0. So as soon as machine A finishes job 1, it will take job 3. Job 3 is just next in line. So job 3 will start its execution at 7th minute because at 7th minute it finished job 1. Now we have to see job 3 on machine A takes 5 minutes. So from 7 it will go till 12. We have to add in 5. And of course the machine A did not have to wait again. You can see as soon as job 1 was finished, it started off with job 3. So again idle time is going to be 0. Now as soon as the machine A finishes job 3, it will take job 2. So again idle time is going to be 0. And job 2 is going to start executing or working or implementing on machine A at 12th minute. Let's see, job 2 on machine A takes 6 minutes. So 12 to 18, we just add in 6. Then job 4 comes. So I'm just going to write 18 over here. No idle time. And job 4 takes 8 minutes. So 18 plus 8, 26. So this was all the jobs on machine A. Now obviously we know that all the jobs have to be processed on all the machines. So as soon as job 1 is finished processing on machine A, it will be moved to machine B, right? However, you can see that as soon as all the machines are started, machine B, C and D and E have to wait till the job 1 is first processed on A, right? So here the idle time for machine B is 7 minutes because for the first 7 minutes, job 1 was being processed on machine A. So B had to wait for 7 minutes, right? So the end time for job 1 on machine B is going to be 7. Now the out time depends upon how long machine B processes job 1. So you have to again look at the table. So for job 1 on B, it takes 5 minutes. So 7 plus 5 is going to be 12. Now at 12th second, machine B has finished processing job 1. So it is waiting for job 3. Job 3 was being processed on machine A from 7th minute to 12th minute. And at exactly 12th minute, machine B also got freed. Which means as soon as job 3 is finished on machine A, it will be immediately moved over here on the machine B. So again, end time is going to be 12 and B did not have to wait for job 3, right? So the idle time is going to be 0. Now for job 3 on B, we have to look over here. Job 3 on machine B, it takes 4 minutes. So 12 plus 4 is going to be 16. And after 16th minute, machine B is finished processing job 3. So now machine B is waiting for job 2. But you can see that job 2 on machine A was executing till 18th minute. Our machine B has become free on 16th minute. But since job 2 is still being processed on machine A when it is 16 minutes, it has to wait for 2 minutes more, right? That is, the machine B has to wait for 2 minutes till machine A completes job 2 by the 18th minute. So job number 2 is gonna come in on machine B only after 18th minute. So you can see even though machine B finished processing job 3 at 16th minute, it still had to wait 2 minutes for this job 2 to be finished on machine B. So that's why it had to wait 2 minutes. So I hope you're getting this. Now job 2 on machine B. So job 2 on machine B takes 6 minutes. So 18 plus 6, 24. And at 24th minute, machine B has finished job 2. So now machine B is waiting for job 4. So job 4 was there in machine A till 26 minutes. But our machine B got freed at 24th minute. So again, 2 minutes it had to wait for job 4 to come in at machine B. So it can only come in 26th minute, right? So job 4 on machine B takes 3 minutes. So 26 plus 3, 29. So this is all the jobs on machine B. Now we come to machine C. So machine C is waiting for job 1 till the 12th minute, right? Because A was processing it till 7 minutes. Then it came to B. So B processed it till 12 minutes. So the end time for job 1 on machine C is going to be 12 minutes. However, C was also started at t equals to 0. So it had to wait for 12 minutes, right? So that's why 12 over here. Job 1 on machine C. Job 1 on machine C takes 2 minutes. So 12 plus 2 is 14. Now again, job 3 is being processed till 16th minute on machine B. But our machine C has got freed at 14th minute. So it has to wait for 2 minutes till 16th minute for job 3 to come on machine C. So that's why 2 minutes of idle time. Now job 3 on machine C takes 5 minutes. So 16 plus 5 is gonna give you 21. And then C has finished job 3. So now C is waiting for job 2. Job 2 was there till 24 minutes in machine B. Machine C has got freed at 21st minute. So 3 minutes it has to wait. And job 2 will only come in machine C at 24th minute. Now job 2 on machine C takes 4 minutes. So 24 plus 4, 28. Now C is waiting for job 4. Job 4 was there till 29th minute. And our machine C has got freed at 28th minute. So 1 minute it has to wait for job 4 to be completed on machine B. And only then it will come in machine C. So it had to wait 1 minute. Now job 4 on machine C takes 3 minutes. So 29 plus 3 is 32. Now using this similar ideology, I'm just simply gonna fill D and E because the same logic is gonna be applied on D and E as well. So I hope you have got this entire process up until now. I'm just gonna quickly fill in all these values because then otherwise it will just waste our time. And then we'll see what we have to find out individually. Okay, so I've already calculated all these values and I hope even you could do it. We just follow the same procedure that we did for A, B and C. So I just had to rewrite all the D and E values using the same process. And now we have to calculate idle time for individually all the machines. And we also have to find out total elapsed time of the entire system. So the total elapsed time of the entire system is directly found over here, which is the last out time of the last machine. Okay. So it's going to be 51. So this is a straightforward answer. Now for the total idle time of the entire system, we need individual idle times of A, B, C, D and E. Okay. So let's see what we have the idle time for A. So you can see idle time individually for A is all zeros. You can see 0, 0, 0, 0. But you can see that A finished all the jobs at 26th minute. Right? However, our entire system finished all the work at 51st minute. So what we have to do is we have to do 51 minus 26 because till the entire process of all the machines is finished, all the machines were kept on. Which means even though A finished all the process at 26th minute, it was not shut off. It was kept on. So it waited till 50th minute. Right? So 51 minus 26 which is going to be 25 minutes. So this is the idle time for A. Now let's calculate idle time for B. So idle time for B is going to be 7 plus 2 plus 2. So this is that idle time column itself plus 51 minus 29 because B completed processing all the jobs at 29th minute but the system completed entirely at 50th minute. So we have to subtract that and add this individual idle time also. So this will give us 33 minutes. Similarly for C I will calculate 12 plus 2 plus 3 plus 1 plus 51 minus 32. This will give me 37. Similarly for D it will be 14 plus 4 plus 1 plus 51 minus 35 which is going to be 35 minutes. And for machine E it is going to be 17 plus 1 which is going to be 18 minutes. Now the total idle time of the entire system can be taken by taking a total of all these idle times. So 25 plus 33 plus 37 plus 35 plus 18 which is equal to 148 minutes. Okay, so this was the entire numerical of n jobs, m machines. I know it is very lengthy, but then if you follow the same process that we did for n jobs 3 machines, it's pretty much the same. You have the same conditions over here, just that you need to add up all the intermediate or middle machine values. So that's why you need the order. That is, you need to know the first machine and the last machine. And then depending upon that, you have to use these two conditions. That is condition number 1 and condition number 2.